Beautiful. Okay, well, nice to meet everybody. My name's Katelynn. I am a certified personal trainer. I am a soon-to-be certified nutrition coach. I also work for a beautiful, wonderful company called Vitality. So we take care of women who are premenopausal, perimenopausal, menopausal, and postmenopausal, and we have a big focus on nutrition and exercise to support a healthy lifestyle. So I kind of have my hands in a lot of different pots, as many of us in the fitness industry do. So I am super grateful to be here and kind of share some of my passion with you and help give you a little bit of guidance on movement while being a type 1 mom or caregiver or parent or even a type 1 yourself. So I have a big focus on intention. And so that's kind of what I'm going to start off with here is why are we exercising, right? I think we've been in a society where everyone is trying to fit a standard or fit a norm. And often the conversation I hear around exercise is to be skinny or to be less or to be smaller and things like that. So I love creating a conversation around exercise that encourages people to be stronger and to be more and to create a space where it is genuinely about getting stronger and building a strong foundation to support you as you go through life. Okay, so on that note, I'd like to plant a little seed on what does that look like for you, right? So take a minute in your head and think about what you look like when you're 90 years old, right? Are you able, number one of my top fitness goals, to get off the toilet by yourself when you're 90, right? Big, big goal for me. I watched my grandmother have to help my grandfather off the toilet. And that's not something that I want for myself. Okay. Am I going to be able to get down and roll around and play with my grandchildren? And then to touch home a little bit, how are we able to physically support our type 1 kiddos? Because let's face it, some nights their legs, they're wobbly and they need a little help and things like that. I want to be able to chase Lila around on her bike and kind of be able to physically keep up with her. So those are some of my personal fitness goals. And so I like to kind of push the box when we're talking about intention and really think about the big why. Okay, so that's my little cheesy part of it. Now here comes a little bit more of the logical side. Okay, so things to consider prior to selecting your exercise program. Okay, your goals, we kind of touched on intention there. Exercise history for me is a big one. If you've played any sports or you danced or you used to ride your bike a lot when you were younger, this is all things to take into consideration when considering your exercise program. Okay. Injuries and limitations. Perhaps if you have a knee injury from an old rugby game or something like that, that is something to take into consideration when planning your program. Perhaps we are going to avoid certain movements at first and build strength around that area before selecting an exercise. Time available. This one for me is especially important for parents and those of us who are working and taking care of a home and things like that. It is unrealistic to expect that you're able to make it to the gym or even into the basement 5, 6, 7 days a week, right? So time available for me is like, let's be realistic about things that we can truly commit to. Okay, even if it's 2 days a week, that's a beautiful starting point and something to build on if you need to as well. Preference. Listen, if you hate going to the gym and going underneath a barbell to squat, then we're not going to do that. The best type of exercise program is the one that you enjoy, and that's why I put preference in here, because life's too short to do things that you don't enjoy. So if we can find a way to move your body that you enjoy, then that would be optimal. Location and or equipment and availability. Um, Listen, sometimes all we have is a walk around the block, and that's good enough. Like that's just honestly, it's good enough. Um, if there is a situation where you can't leave the house and you have to do all your exercising from home, then that has to be reflected in your exercise program. So these are all some things and more that I take into consideration when planning my exercise programs. Okay. Um, so beyond that, next thing we're going to kind of talk about to extend on planning your exercise program is cardiovascular training versus resistance training. Okay, so both are very important. And I almost like to think of this as, again, going back to that intention and whatnot is when we are training, often we think of the aesthetic reasons of why we're doing it, right? I want to look a certain way, I want to appear a certain way and do this. But when we break it down and we think about, okay, what's under the hood, right? If we can think about, perhaps can we use a metaphor like a vehicle, like your car can look great, but if it's not running well, if you're not taking care of the maintenance and changing all the fluids and making sure everything is running well under the hood, it just doesn't matter what your car looks like because it's not going to run. Okay, so cardiovascular training, absolutely important, and lots of different ways to target that. For me, walking right now is perfect, right? Again, as I'm sure a lot of you can relate to, there's been a lot of highs and lows, and with this weather change, like sugars in my house are wild. They are absolutely wild, and I am like on constant watch right now. So all I'm doing for my cardio is walking. I take the dog for a walk, I get my heart rate up a little bit, I get the sun on my face, and that's perfect. I am not doing any like hill sprints, I am not going on the treadmill, I am walking. Okay, I am prioritizing my exercise right now for resistance training because I know it serves me long term for my goals. Okay, so resistance training in comparison to your cardiovascular training will increase your strength and muscle mass. Okay, so because of this, it therefore boosts metabolism. Now I know boosting metabolism is a huge buzzword right now, and like what the heck does it mean, right? So if we want to tie it back, for example, to someone who has fat loss goals, reasons why we're going to do resistance training in comparison to cardiovascular training is because then we will therefore increase our muscle mass. Our body will require more energy, so we will increase the amount of food our body requires. It will also help us with things like our sugars, right? Because our muscles do require that as well. So there's lots of reasons to prioritize our resistance training, okay? Metabolism, big one. Furthermore, if we're thinking about all those long-term goals, being able to keep up with our grandchildren, things like that, this is what your resistance, your strength training is going to be doing. Especially for us women, if we are going to kind of tie that into bone density. Okay, so has a huge correlation on bone density, fracture risk, fall prevention. These are all things that muscle mass are extremely important for. Okay, the third thing is it looks nice. So if you want to talk about aesthetics and looking and appearing a certain way, it looks nice to have that, and that'll be a big immediate reward for you as what you're doing, right? So these are things that I think are really important to consider as well. Okay, my next rambling on progressive overload. So this one is huge in consideration, talking about resistance training. So when we're gradually increasing the intensity or difficulty of an exercise with the goal of challenging the body, thus creating change and growth. Okay, so immediately when we're thinking about increasing intensity of our exercise, we're thinking, okay, we're just going to add a bunch of weight on. Well, that's not necessarily possible, especially for those of us who are choosing to exercise at home, right? So how are we increasing the intensity at home? Well, we might do this by, for example, instead of moving nice and slow up and down, we might increase that power up. So we might shoot up and then have a nice slow descent. in a squat or a push-up or whatever you're choosing to do that day. Increasing the range of motion. My favorite way is to really slow things down, right? So these are just a few examples of ways that you're going to make your exercise more challenging for you, which is going to then help you see the changes that you would like, okay? So that's just a little note on that. The next one is recovery. So I think this is huge for us. Our exercise program is only as good as your recovery program, okay? We cannot go. This is just not how we are going to optimally perform, right? And this almost ties back to that preference thing and enjoying your exercise. If you are just feeling so exhausted from your last workout, you're not going to want to go into your next workout, right? You're not going to feel excited to go into your workout. So making sure that you have a recovery plan, you're sleeping well, you're eating well, you're hydrated. These are all things that will support you having a successful workout next time. So one thing I want to stress on here is exercise is a stress on our body, okay? At the end of the day, it is an intentional stress that we are putting on ourselves with the hope that we will have, with positive coping mechanisms, great results, right? But if we are always pulling and we're pushing ourselves and we are doing things that are just draining from our day, we will not achieve the goals that we set out in the first place, right? So this is something where I really feel passionately about is like, no pain, no gain. That's just not true, okay? Especially for, I think most of us in this group, I think there's a lot of moms and females here, like, we are nurturers, we are givers, and we are always on the go, okay? And even when we lay down to go to bed, we are still on and our heads are going, right? If this is you, if you had a crappy night, you have not slept, the last thing you need to wake up to is a very high intensity exercise, okay? It is not gonna serve you that day, okay? So super big thing to focus on is listening to your body, right? Are you in a state where the exercise that you planned is going to serve you for the rest of the day, for the next day, and for long term? Okay, so going back to that example, if you were up all night and you wake up, you're exhausted, perhaps you would want to go for a nice gentle walk outside, have the sun in your face, be with nature, come home and rest and hydrate and fuel yourself well, and save that more high intense exercise for the next day, right? Because then you'll be able to sleep, you'll wake up feeling rested and recovered, and you'll be able to go into that workout with the intention that you set those goals with and really crush it, okay? So that's my little spiel about stress, okay? Listen to your body and really, really take that into consideration. Proper nutrition. My little cliche saying as a personal trainer that I say to all my clients is, we gain muscle in the gym and we lose fat in the kitchen, okay? There is no exercise program that will help you melt your fat away, okay? So I want you to focus on getting stronger in the gym, feeling super capable and very empowered with those workouts. And then you're gonna go home and support your goals with proper nutrition, and that is gonna help support the fat loss goals. Okay, it breaks my heart to see people on these little hamster wheels where they think they're going to burn away their calories and burn away their fat, where it is a way more sustainable, and that's a very key word for me, a sustainable plan to really think about getting stronger and building muscles and supporting you long term, and then really dialing in nutrition to then support those goals. Okay, so I think separating them into two different categories is a really helpful way to think about that. Hydration seems obvious, but really it's a big one, ladies. Like, if we can keep our muscles hydrated, if you are getting sore, there you go, taking a sip of water, a little water break for everybody. If you are experiencing sore muscles after you have a new exercise program, couple things to think about. Number one is always hydration. Dry muscles, thirsty muscles, or sore muscles. And then also perhaps we need to tweak nutrition a little bit to make sure you're not feeling sore. Because if you're feeling sore, you're not going to want to do your workout the next day, right? So this is part of the recovery. And more is not always better. Okay, like I said, this kind of ties back to stress. Exercise is a stress. So the more stress you put on the body isn't necessarily a good thing, right? That also circles back to that progressive overload. We want to do it very slowly, little increases to make your workouts more challenging, and that is where you're going to see the best results. They're going to be sustainable. You're going to feel great doing it, and you will not feel drained and always look forward to your workouts. I kind of said that no pain, no gain. It's just old-fashioned, and it's not true. You should not be sore. You should not have a sore back. Your hips should not hurt in general from your workouts, right? Because that's just going to end to injury and depletion. So that's a big focus I have with my clients is I truly want the exercise that we do together, the training, and I love to think of it as training instead of just exercise and working out, is to support you today and tomorrow. And that small moment of your day, which is your exercise, should really be adding to your life, and it shouldn't be pulling from it. And if you spend 45 minutes working out and then you have to spend the rest of the day on the couch because you're so tired and exhausted, is it worth it, right? So with proper programming, I think all of these things are possible. And that's kind of my focus and my passion with exercise there. So yes, thank you for your time. So I'm going to stop sharing that. And then if you had any questions you wanted to ask, if you wanted me to kind of extend on anything, that was my little spiel.
Thanks, Katelynn. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You.
definitely. It's just inspiring. And I think getting stronger that's kind of my goal. Like I want to be strong.
Yeah.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
had heard me say before, a couple years ago, I couldn't get out of the bathtub. Like during COVID, I had gained 60 pounds and I was just like, my muscles were so weak, I could not
Yeah.
get out of the bathtub. It was like crazy. And so slowly since then, I've been more focused on, getting an exercise routine and eating better. I still have my moments, but
Yeah.
it's definitely made just like a big difference in how I
Yeah.
feel. And yeah,
No,
I want to be 80 and get off the toilet and like just all those things you mentioned. Working in home care, like working with seniors, that's just there's so many people that need help when they're seniors,
yeah.
and I feel like getting strong now will make a difference.
It really does. And I love hearing stuff like that. It seems like a simple thing like the toilet or the bathtub, but those are very impactful things on your life, right? So beyond any, very showy things, it's like those simple things in life, if what we're doing in the gym or through your exercise is then again contributing to your life. I just think that's priceless, right? And adds such great value. So yeah.
And our mental health too, like just the stress of life being
Yep.
type 1 mom, like, I used to cry all the time. And I think like since I've started exercising and taking care of myself,
Mhm.
I maybe cry once a month. Like it's just
That's
so much
okay.
less than what it used to be.
That's
And
great.
I can tell the difference when I exercise. Those days I feel better than the days I don't.
Yeah. I tease with my clients. I'm like, that's your free gift out the door is those little endorphins, right? So ride them. And it, like you said, it keeps you looking forward to your exercise and keeps you coming back. So yeah, I love those takeaways from exercise. It seems simple, but I think they're like truly impactful. So yeah,
Mhm.
awesome. Yeah. I will share in the notes attached to this um, a link to the Vitality website, and we do offer an app. So the app does have several different options for resistance training. Okay, so then we do have options for at home, for at the gym. There's 3 days. There's lots of different options, kind of for that, and it is taking into consideration that we do need to rest, right? We need like significant breaks where we're not just rushing into from set to set and things like that. So it is something that I can absolutely get behind and support as far as knowing that it's um, appropriately programmed and it is updated monthly as well. So that's another thing. You're not just doing the same workout over and over again. So I will attach the link in there. The Vitality group itself, or all the women in the group, I think is just a really beautiful community of women as well. So I encourage everyone to go on there. We're very much like a nutrition, food first type of thing. So no gimmicks. It's just move well, eat well, and like you said, treat yourself kindly. Think about all those mental aspects of it as well. So I'll attach all those links there. And please feel free to reach out to myself on the Facebook group there as well. It's my favorite thing to talk about. So let me know if anyone has any questions.
Perfect. Sounds good. I'm trying to convince my kids that I feel like I want to hire you to do like a family workout, but my kids aren't there yet. But I'm going to try to keep working on them. But I think me and my
Yeah.
husband right now, like they're watching us at least so that they see us exercising and
Yes.
hopefully it'll wear off on them.
Yes, well, I mean, my gym is full of kiddos in the summer. It is makes my heart so happy every day because, like, we have, when they're 12, 13 years old, they can come in all by themselves, and I just think it's imagine if we started going to the gym at that age, right? Like, it's my playground. It's my honestly my favorite place to be, so it's a good community of people to be around. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for
My pleasure.
sharing
Thank you
your
so much for
expertise.
having me.
It was really good. I learned some good tips.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, thanks. Okay,
Bye.
bye.